Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Welcome into episode 122 of the Second One podcast. Joining you today is myself, Shiz. And we also have Mr. Mo Snell, and we also have brother Kurt, not Kirk, but Kurt Franklin.
I thought his name was Kurt, man.
Fellas, how y'all feeling? We're into the second quarter of the year. Happy April. How y'all feeling?
Praise Jesus, man.
Yeah, I'm all good, man. I'm good. Good
Good,
to
man.
go.
Everybody good? All right, great. So how this podcast works, we talk mostly about sports, hip hop, politics, and everything in between. We give it to you straight, raw, no chaser. And if we offend you, we apologize slightly. So I would kick things off. We have our taking a shot segment where we give a bold prediction about one of the categories I just named. Collectively, we do about 80%, but when you're taking a shot, you're bound to have a couple of hiccups here and there. So last week, we were talking about me personally. I was talking about football. I brought it to the NFC East, and I was talking about the Washington football team and how I think they're going to make the playoffs. So I'm going to go back to that team. And as we all know, the San Francisco 49ers made a drastic move to move up to third in the draft.
No, you talking about the 49ers way too early.
I think the next team to make a drastic move is this Washington football team to try to get into the top 10. If you look at their roster, they're pretty much stacked on the defensive side, and they had some good free agency moves for the offensive side this year. They got weapons, they got receivers, backs they're decent. They can improve that in the draft. Got a nice tight end. Offensive line is not bad. The one thing that's holding them back is a quarterback. Now we know they brought in Fitz. He's not the future, of course. He's just a guy that you're just going to throw in and hopefully he creates some magic. I think if the Washington football team can get their hands on a quality quarterback, like one of these young guys like a Justin Fields or a Trey Lance, Mac Jones or whoever, have him sit a year, watch Fitzmagic do his thing and not do his thing, and then be ready for the next season. I think this Washington football team will be set up nicely for the future going forward. So while there's not a pressing need for this team right now, I think they can, package up a few picks, try to get into the top 10, select a quarterback, and like I said, this year have Fitz start, have the young quarterback sit a year, and then the following year be fully ready to roll. Um, that's my taking a shot. Snell, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts?
I kind of agree that you may be right. I think they could package up some things and try to move up. I think particularly if guys start to slide a little bit, they possibly can get to like 7 where the Lions are, because the Lions don't really need a quarterback, and they're in full. They're pretty much in full. They're back in full. Actually, they're not even back. They're in their.
They've
They're
been,
in
in
their
full
state.
they've been in full rebuild mode for the past like 10
they're,
years.
they're,
They
they're in
never
their
left.
they're in their comfortable state of rebuild mode. So, that's typically where they seem to be at. So I think you could see that. I think you could definitely see that happen. Is that you could see somebody coming up to that 7 spot to make a move, whether it be the Redskins would be possibly an option. I think even the Patriots seem to be making rumbling. So I think that 7 spot is a good spot for a lot of people to come up to, and I think the Lions are always willing to take more picks and more
They make more bad decisions.
Exactly.
Gives them more opportunities to fuck up.
Exactly. But give them more opportunities to fuck up in next year's draft. So
Yeah, exactly.
they're always looking for those type of moves. So yeah, I do agree with you there.
All right, Kurt, your thoughts?
I just want to say you didn't have to mention the 49ers.
No, I
Just
didn't.
to preface what you were talking about. You could have just said the Redskins are going to move up. But anyway,
we're going to get there.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I'm just
I
using
think-
it as a reference point.
I
Go
think
ahead.
every time you make a reference to that, I think you're trying to insult me. But anyway,
Nah.
so as you were talking about it, I was thinking about it, and it could work. I was thinking about what is their cap, because if they trade up, they're probably going to do like a first round, second round, something like that. Well, not a first round. I mean, a first round of this year, next year, something like that. So what do they have? Do they have enough money to go out and buy free agents? Because as it stands now, they got a pretty good defense. They got the good wide receiver, 2 running backs. So it's not like they're in full rebuild mode. So you got to think, why are you going to give up the additional picks to get the quarterback? Because I mean, let's be honest. There's a couple good quarterbacks, but I think the only one that for sure is going to make it in the NFL is Lawrence, right? I think everybody else is a toss up because you're everybody in the first round. Well, everybody in the draft, you're just drafting them off potential, right? And just that number one overall is kind of like the proven commodity, right? Except Jamarcus Russell, because we found out. But so when you think about it that way, it's like, should they do it? Should they not? And then I was thinking about, like when you compete, what are you trying to win first, right? And they're just trying to win their division, right? So you gotta look at everybody in the division. The Cowboys. The Cowboys got a lot of weapons. I think the Cowboys are going to win the division. Then you got the Giants right under them. The Giants are set, and I think it's really dependent on Danielle Jones to see what he does. And then you got the Eagles, who is just a rolling dumpster fire every fucking year. So for them, I do think they trade up. But it also depended on, like Mo said, how fast those quarterbacks go, because you got Lawrence going at 1, and the Jets are still up in the air. They might keep Darnold and trade out of that 2 spot for somebody else to come up and get a quarterback, or they might go out and get like Kyle Pitts or something like that. Like, you never know what they're going to do. So then that's when the quarterbacks might try to slide a little bit. So I think if one of those first 4 picks is not a quarterback, well, the Bengals are what, 3 or 4?
5.
Bengals are 5.
Oh, they're 5. Okay. So yeah, if a quarterback is not one of those first 4 picks, I think you see the Redskins move up to try to get a spot to try to get one of those quarterbacks.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. Moving on. Mr. Mo Snell, you're taking a shot, sir.
Yeah, man. So I'm gonna say it here. I'm not sure where he's gonna go. But you can almost guarantee it that whoever takes this Zach Wilson will comfortably clear their whole staff. And when I say their whole staff, I mean head coach, all assistant coaches,
the nutritionist,
everyone in the building will be cleared out within 3 years. You will all be fired. That's for any. That's for any team. I don't care who. It was like when I was saying, like, I remember I was like this year I was like, the Steelers would be out first round. Like, I don't care who they play. Like, it doesn't matter. That's how I feel about Zach Wilson. Like, I don't care where he was. If he went to the Bucks, like, we'll be done in 3 years. Like, everybody's fired because he's that. I think it's I can already see it where he's getting that Blake Bortles type of love. That is
you can't say that Blake. That Blake was real bad.
I don't even think Blake was that bad, but I think the excuses for Blake made the situation 20 times worse. Like, when they showed Zach Wilson like rolling left and throwing the ball, throwing it
over the middle like it was some magic trick or something crazy.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. That magic trick worked because I immediately said, "Go get him, Niners."
No, no. And like, first off, Pat Mahomes exists, so there's nothing like arm talent. Nothing arm talent wise you can show me that's gonna really like shock me, especially when you're playing 1 versus none football, right? So that's the start. So just that's like the prime example of what I see happening, of him playing average football and people praising him, and that your team is getting worse and worse.
Yeah.
And then the day is gonna come like, oh, you want to know when we're the best football team? When we take the ball out of this guy's hand and we just hand it off a bunch of times and just try to have him be a game manager. So just from the reaction of him throwing that, like, rolling left, throwing the ball right, the reaction he got compared to a Justin Fields who ran a 4.4, like is 3 to 4 inches taller, like is purely a better athlete in every type of way or category, can make the same throws, and people are like, oh man, that Northwestern game, I don't know. Like, so just seeing those comparisons, I already see it coming. Of this guy's going to play mediocre football, and people are going to be like, "Hey, but just wait, just wait," and then it'll be, well, we're back at the top of the draft. What do we do? That is going to be the same. It's going to be the same situation, and I think that's regardless of whoever takes him.
Yeah, I think yeah, I don't know about this Zach. Everybody's in love with him, but I kind of agree that he has a lot of hype around him, and if he goes to the Jets, you know how the New York media is. Like he'll get swallowed up if he doesn't perform well week one. Like
Yeah.
you'll have people calling back for Sam Darnold by halftime if he comes in there, throws an interception or fumbles or something like that. So I think going to the Jets is a bad situation for him. Now, if he was able to slip to the 49ers or, a team that's established, I think we'll have a better shot at being successful because, the team is good around you. You just got to make sure you don't fumble the ball and, just mess it up for their entire team. But if he goes to the Jets, man, it's going to be the same thing like it is with Darnold. Like he's going to be asked to uplift a team that has zero talent, and once you don't do that within your first couple of years, they'll ship you out, and your career is in jeopardy. Like Sam Darnold's career is in major jeopardy right now, and we don't know if he can play or not. He was stuck with Adam Gase, and just a total shit show. But with Wilson, if he goes to the Jets, I know they got a new coaching staff, but still, man, they don't really have much. And I just think that if he falls to the 49ers, he'll have a better chance of succeeding than if he goes to the Jets. So I'm not going to say he's going to get a whole staff fired, but with the Jets, he'll get that staff fired for sure.
You gotta stop using 49ers as your.
They're the talk of the city in the NFL.
Stop, man.
They're the base.
You gotta stop using the Niners as your baseline.
They're the talk of the city in the NFL.
This Zach Wilson, I think it was very strategic of them to have their pro day first because, like Mo said, like after you saw those highlights, everybody was like, "Yo, he is the next Joe Montana." Like everybody was hyped over him. And then immediately after that, you saw Justin Fields do everything that he did a little bit faster. Like, God damn it.
Yeah, Fields runs a 4.4, and people talking about his work ethic. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. So to Zach Wilson, I don't think he's gonna be. I don't think he's a bad pick, but like Shiz was saying, he has to be at an established team. He has to be at a good coaching staff because they really got to help him out. But when I think of him, I actually think of Steve Young. Steve Young was an undersized quarterback from BYU. Really a mobile quarterback he started out as. Then he just got better, but it took him a while. He had to just take his licks. And I think Wilson will have to do the same thing. So will he get an entire coaching staff cleaned out? If it's a bad coaching staff, yeah, he'll get him cleaned out because they won't know what to do with him. They won't know to, sit him and really help him and work on him. But yeah, so I think it was like 50-50 on that one.
All right, moving on. Kurt, what's your taking the shot?
My taking the shot. I mean, I really didn't have one this week because football, after I saw that 49er trade, I just stopped watching everything. But I will say I'm super excited about this draft because we got all the hype around these quarterbacks, and a lot of the teams are like the first couple picks are teams that need quarterbacks, and then you get to like the Falcons who might take a quarterback. The Jets, they might take one. They might do something with Sam Darnold. But I think it'll be interesting to see like 2 years down the road what's going to happen with these quarterbacks that played like not even half a season, like a couple games. Because Trey Lance played one game last year, something like that.
So yeah, he didn't. I don't know if he opted out, but he did. He might have.
No, they didn't opt out. I think they just
because he's D2, so the team just couldn't play.
Yeah, the team just couldn't play. So I think they played like one game and then shut it down. So for the whole Trey Lance hype, that's like off of 2 years ago. You know what I'm saying? And then some of the other quarterbacks, they didn't have full seasons. I think Mac Jones, I think he's interesting because he came out of Alabama, and I think he's just one of those guys that's like a like not as talented as like a Matt Ryan. If you put him in a system, like he will
Not
Like,
even that. He's not even close. He's not even. He's not even.
I think he's one of those guys that can run your offense. You know what I'm saying? That
Yeah.
can make your offense good. I just don't know if he can go out and throw like Matt Ryan can yet. You know what I mean? He might get there, but I think he's like a Matt Ryan to me. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's all I got.
yeah, it's definitely exciting. Teams are going to make a mistake. Like, there's no way all 5 of these quarterbacks are going to be hits.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
Somebody's gonna be pissed.
yeah, somebody's going to make a mistake, and I think Trey Lance is probably the most risky of the picks.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson is also very risky. I mean, I made this mistake last time with Dwayne Haskins when I was just hyping up like him over like Daniel Jones and other quarterbacks. I don't think it's the same thing with Fields. Like, he could have Fields' draft status is already high. He could have opted out, but he decided to play. Decided to try to lead that team to a championship. So
And the only thing with him is he had that one bad game.
he had the one bad game, but the game against like Clemson, he like lit it up. So that was a great performance by him, and I think that if it's me, like the 2 quarterbacks that I feel the most confident in is Lawrence, of course, and Fields. Now, where does Mac Jones and Wilson came out of nowhere, and Trey Lance is the ultimate wild card. So we'll see what happens with the 5. But if I had to pick 2, it'd definitely be Lawrence and Fields. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see how these quarterbacks do in the years to come. Any thoughts on the quarterbacks now, or you just want to just?
Oh yeah.
just
Oh
get
yeah.
it?
The court. Yeah. No. The court. I totally agree. Like, especially if you're the Jets. Like, if you obviously you're not getting Trevor Lawrence, but if you're the Jets, and just from like you said, from a media standpoint, like at least Justin Fields is kind of used to. He was like the number one, a number one high school guy. Like, he's dealt with major universities as far as Georgia and Ohio State. As far as like the media attention is similar to what it's not quite the Jets or the New York media, but it's similar as far as when you start talking about like diehard football places. You know what I mean? Like, you're dealing with Georgia and Columbus, Ohio. Like, those are just like, that's all they hang their hat on that. So that's everything to them. So at least you're used to dealing with like fanatics, I'll say. So at least they can handle that type of situation. But I did, like you said, when you start talking about Trey Lance, like you're putting your franchise. That's just like, it's not, to me. He's not even a real option. I put him in the same category as the guy that the Packers took last year.
Oh yeah,
like that. That's just like
Jordan Love.
Jordan Love, yeah. Like, taking those type of guys, those are like the projects. Like, Jordan Love is he's like a 4-year project. Like, so I don't get it. I don't get why, maybe it's that much upside, but taking a guy like that, I feel like, yeah, we're about to draft you, and you're not playing for your first contract. Like, that's crazy.
Just a waste of time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy, but that's the type of risk level I think those type of guys are, of like, wow, we're taking him. Like, this is gonna be an adventure.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I put Love and Trey Lance in the same.
Yeah,
category.
like I remember them talking about, like, yeah, Jordan Love, like, yeah, he can't hit like any, like, he can't throw the ball to anybody out here. Like, he can't, like, that's the type of stories he got. Like, yeah, like in practice, yeah, we don't even have him as he wasn't even the backup. Like, he's that much of a project of like, hey, put him on the practice squad as the scrambling quarterback for those opponents when we face them, like that type of project. So I think some of these guys, they're just huge risk. And same like Zach Wilson. I mean, if you put his film next to Kyle Trask, I'll take Kyle Trask. Like,
wow,
he hasn't done. If you look at like what he's done, it's like, this is not. It's really not that. It's like that throw. I'm like that. Like, this is not that impressive. Like, I don't get it. Maybe I'm lost or confused. Like, I'm just not seeing it. But I think You get a guy like that. To me, he's Baker Mayfield without the confidence. Like that's really what I see. It's just like he's an undersized quarterback. He can make some throws, but if you stuck Baker Mayfield in New York, he'd be out the league already.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
The pressure's way up. So
the pressure's way up. So you start. I think you just start getting into some of those things of like his talent level to me isn't that great. It isn't like I haven't seen Johnny Manziel before. So he's not talent wise coming out of college is not even close, right? You would say. Look where Johnny Manziel got drafted, probably because he's a head case. But talent wise, I don't even think those two are close. I think Johnny Manziel coming out was a much better athlete than Zach Wilson is now. Mentally, maybe Zach Wilson's like, maybe he just gets like, hey, I got a perfect Wonderlic score. And then there's something, you know what I mean? Something else that we're not seeing. But from what I see from a talent standpoint, I'm not getting it. I'm just not seeing like why people are so enamored. And it's like, yo, this guy's great. Take him number 2. I'm just like,
yeah, it's definitely going to be it's going to be a great storyline in sports media in New York. But round of applause for our taking a shot segment. All right, moving into these topics. A team I mentioned before a couple
numerous times for no fucking reason.
The 49ers made a massive deal last week, moving up to number 3 in the draft, and the trade was with the Dolphins, and then the Dolphins ended up trading back into the top 6. We'll get to that in a second, but Taim, Kirk Franklin, your team is the 49ers. Explain to us your genuine thoughts on this move. Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? Or do you feel indifferent?
My genuine thoughts are I think it was one of the stupidest fucking trades that the 49ers could have made. But I'm a lifelong 49ers fan, and they've done, stupid shit for my entire life. You don't give up 2. They gave up the 22 first round and the 23 first rounder.
Correct.
Move up. You don't do that if you on the potential of a guy, because what if they do take, Trey Lance and he can't fucking hit the bigger side of a barn? You know what I mean? Like he played one game last year and they're enamored with him. He comes out there and he fucking stinks it up, right? And then you're still rocking out there with one leg Jimmy G Garoppolo. Then you don't have a first round pick for 2 years. You're fucked. Like, why did you do that? And then, like I said, any of these quarterbacks is all potential. Like I would have been okay if it was just a 22 first rounder. Then maybe a 3rd or 4th somewhere, but to give up 2 first rounders in 2 years, that's too much. Like, and I feel like to do that, they feel like they're 100% certain, right? But nothing is 100% certain when we're talking about unproven rookies, right? You never know. So I think that that price was too high, man. I feel like they should have stayed at 12, got a corner because the secondary is still not the best. You either try to trade. You see what the Dolphins, not the Dolphins. You see what the Jets do. If they draft a quarterback, then they might be willing to trade Darnold. If you can get Darnold, if you can't get Darnold, I mean, you just stay with Jimmy G and you see what happens. Like, and you keep all your fucking draft picks. But I don't know what the fuck's wrong with these guys.
Yeah, I think it was a very steep price, and the grand prize, of course, is Lawrence. So if you're not getting him, then man, it was a shocker to me. And at first, I was like, okay, the Jets are going to take Wilson, so they're going to move up and take Fields. But now, this talk of Mac Jones going number 3 is absolutely crazy to me. And while I do think Mac Jones in the right system could be a quality quarterback, as they compare him to like Kirk Cousins, but Kirk Cousins is not winning you a championship. So
you also don't take Kirk Cousins at 3.
Kirk Cousins was like a 3rd round pick or something like that. So
was he? I thought he was the second because I thought they took RG3 first in the first round, and then the second round they came right back and got
it may have been the second or 3rd. I think it was 3rd.
Was it 3rd?
Yeah. It was a round after the first, like it was either a round or 2 after the first round.
Yeah, but it didn't make sense because they just got a quarterback and then they drafted another one right after that.
Yeah, so yeah, you're going to spend the number third pick, the third overall pick on Kirk Cousins, essentially, hoping that he can be as good as Kirk Cousins. Now, if you're going to spend that third pick on Fields, I can understand that, but the immediate talk of Mac Jones was just baffling because I feel like you could have got Mac Jones where you're at, like at number 12.
Yeah, if
Like
you wanted Mac
he
Jones,
would
yeah.
have he would have been in range. Like maybe you would have had to move up to 8 or 7 or whatever, but go all the way up to 3. Man, that was a wild move. And the 49ers, at least they're not sitting on their hands, so I'll give them credit for that. But wow, that was a drastic move to go with a quarterback that's not the proven the most ready one in the draft. So my prayers out to the 49ers.
Man, you
See
said
what
that shit.
happens.
You don't care about us.
We'll see what happens, but yeah, wild move. Snell, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think a couple of things. First off, when they made the move, it's kind of shocking because that's like saying we have 2 quarterbacks in mind that will take over Jimmy Garoppolo. That to me, that's what you're saying. Unless good old Robert Saleh is like, hey, let me let y'all in on these Jets meetings, and I'm gonna tell you exactly what we're doing, so you know exactly who's there. You're saying like, hey, we're willing to be like when you move, like you're saying, if we have 2 guys in mind, we'll take both of them over Jimmy G. So that was my initial thought, was like, damn, like they really hate this Jimmy G. Like you got 2 quarterbacks like out of college that you're like, yeah, we're willing to go with either one of them over him like now, because I think if you do draft a quarterback that high at 3, if anything goes wrong during the start of the season, the fans are going to be calling for you to stick the rookie in. So that was kind of my initial thought. And then my next thought is that they just plan on keeping that Jimmy G, and whoever they drafting is sitting. So that they don't care. Like they have 2 quarterbacks in mind, and they don't want either one of them to play within these upcoming seasons. And that's and they're willing to live and die with that. So that was my next kind of way that I looked at it. So if you're willing to say, hey, we really think like if Kyle Shanahan, because he's definitely a great offensive mind, and he's willing to say, hey, listen, you give me either one of these 2 guys and give me a year or 2, I'll have them ready to go. And John Lynch is like, are you positive? And he's like, yeah, like give me either one of these guys, we're good to go. So if you have that much, they've been successful, so you can't really knock them on this decision. So you gotta let it play out, just because of how much success John Lynch and Shanahan have had outside of injury, I would say. So you kind of got to let it play out whenever they make a move. But yeah, like you said, if they moved up to 3 to take Mac Jones, man, that's you got to have the magic crystal ball of knowing the future to.
Or I mean, they could be trying to play everybody, and they could have moved up to take Kyle Pitts.
But you got Kittle
already. But you can put Kyle Pitts in, like that dude is a wide receiver. Like you can literally put him at wide receiver if you want to. He just gives you more options.
I mean, to move up that, so to move up that aggressively for a tight end is a fireable offense.
Yeah, there's no way for a tight end when you already have Kittle in the fold. Like there's just no way you're doing that.
Because like if you think about it like this, the 49ers are already super successful at running the ball, right?
Yeah.
If you put Kittle on one side of the line and then you put Kyle Pitts on the other side, you essentially take those linebackers, or you take the defensive ends out, and just makes the running game a little easier.
No.
Yeah, but is that worth 2 future first round picks?
The situation you will put Kyle Pitts in is that by making a move that aggressive, you need to have a Julio Jones-esque career. Like that's the only person I can think of that.
Bro, and like that his measurables, is he that far off of Julio?
he's far. You're talking about who?
I think Julio ran like a 4.3.
Yeah, did that to move up.
How
Like,
big?
that's the
How
only
big
point
was
that-
Julio though? Like how much did he weigh?
Julio's probably like like high 220s, maybe low 230s.
and
And Kyle Pitts is what 220s?
No, Kyle Pitts.
They say like 240.
40. Yeah.
So, I mean, he's a tight end.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, look at the success that Julio Jones had.
Yeah.
Over a long period of time. So to move up that aggressively, like to use picks to move up, the only time I've ever seen it done was to get Julio Jones. So you're putting him on a team and saying, "Hey, I know you're on the field with George Kittle, but you still need to work." Like, so
yeah, I mean
that's a lot. That would be a lot.
Yeah, that would be a stunner. But I mean, the drafts never. I mean, everybody puts out these mock drafts. You know, like Ty McShay put out his 4th mock draft today, and I know that's his job. But these mock drafts always or just end up being like off. So somebody's going to do something crazy and make a crazy move, like maybe to just take Mac Jones and really set this thing ablaze, and then who knows? But yeah, the 49ers got things started. And then right after that, the Eagles came in there and, they traded back to get a pick in the future, which is, the right thing to do, but they need weapons. So they were sitting in prime position to get like a Jamar Chase or even a Kyle Pitts. So they trade back to 12 in Miami. Miami moves back up to 6. And just the Twitter people that I follow, I follow a bunch of Eagles fans that I know in like real life, and it was a polarizing thing. Like some people were happy because they got a pick for next year. Some people were pissed because like their number one receiver is JJ Arcega-Whiteside. So they were upset about that, and I'm not sure. I guess the long play, it was a good move for the Eagles, but man, when you're in prime position to get either Pitts or Jamar Chase or one of these offensive linemen or defensive, like whatever, trading back to 12, you'll still end up with like Devontae Smith or maybe like a Jalen Waddle or whatever, but Jamar Chase is going to be there and he's going to be gone. And I think the Eagles fans ultimately end up regretting that decision. Kurt, your thoughts?
Yes, I was going to ask you think Smith isn't as good as Chase?
I think Jamar, he's just bigger, and the speed is the same, or Jamar might actually be a little bit faster. I'm not sure what the 40s were, but Jamar, if he would have played this year, he would have probably had just as good a season as Devontae Smith. He just sat out a year because he didn't want to get hurt. So people remember the tape, like when he was playing with Burrow the year before, like he was lighting it up. So I think Smith's size is ultimately what's going to cause him to slip a little bit. When I say slip to like the teens in the draft, as opposed to being like the first overall receiver taken.
So me, as hating the Philadelphia Eagles, I love to see them fuck up, and that's what they did. They moved themselves out of prime position to get Jamar Chase, that would have catapulted that offense. So now they're going to end up with like a nose tackle or something. You know what I'm saying? Like they're going to fuck this up, and I'm happy that they they did what they did. Because they got Jamar Chase, they would have they'd have been 2 rungs better on the better chart. And then I heard something about they might even try to take a quarterback or something like that if one is there or something like I don't know.
Yeah, they're not. I know they're not fully committed to
Jalen Hurts.
Yeah. So they were saying that they had an opportunity to take Zach Wilson, they would have took him. But now that they had, they were 6, they decided to move back. And what's baffling to me about the Eagles is that okay, you have Jalen Hurts, but your backup quarterback is Joe Flacco. So if Hurts was to go down,
they ready to ride with Flacco.
Like you have to pretty much install an entirely different offense. Like you can't run an RPO with Flacco, like it's going nowhere. So
his legs cannot handle.
So that was a very, very bewildering pickup. Maybe they're going to pick up somebody in the draft in the 2nd or 3rd or 4th round, whatever. But Eagles, man, like they're in our division, to the Cowboys division, and I don't know what they're doing. Like last year, they were projected they were the favorite to win the division. 1 year later, Peterson is gone, Wentz is gone. Now they're at the very bottom of the division with really no clear direction. So who knows what they're doing? But Snell, your thoughts on this move?
I actually think it's a smart move because as much help as they need on the offensive side of the ball, they need just as much help on the defensive side of the ball. So they're in a position where no one person is even going to make us relevant. So get as many picks as you can, and you just plan for the future. Like as much as you're saying they need Jamar Chase, like their secondary is god awful.
Yeah, Pittsburgh.
Like that. Yeah, it's like so drafting a wide receiver is only going to do but so much. So if you can get more picks, because we're going to need another year. Like we're going to need another year regardless of who we take. So whether you're getting Jamar Chase or Devonta Smith, it really won't matter that much right now because you're going to still need a huge overhaul to help that defense out. They need offensive lineman help. They need help everywhere.
Yeah, they need help everywhere.
So like being in a position, I guess this, right? So I would say this. If they got Jamar Chase, I don't even know if they'll be able to do anything to really get him the ball. And it'll just be more of just like they got Jamar Chase and they can't use him. So for them, trade back, man, just get just try to get solid guys. You don't really need superstars because you pretty much stink. So there's no need to. There's really, you know what I mean. There's really no need to. Even if they were that high up, like there's no need to get. What would Zach Wilson do on that team besides sit there and be like, "Hey guys, we still need offensive linemen, we still need receivers, we still need defensive back, we still need DNs, like we still need a whole team around us." So we're just talking like that. That's it. Like you would get a high caliber draft pick to sit there and be like, "Hey, we still need some. We still need another draft to be able to compete." Like so, I can understand it as far as, hey, let's move back, get more picks. Let's see if we can, find some hidden gems and go forward because that team needs a lot of help. So I don't think moving back is such a bad thing for them right now.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Desean Watson still in the news. So we're up to 21 lawsuits against him, but his lawyer did some homework and got 18 masseuses to support him. So now it's 21-18 and close game, And one of the interesting things though is that the defense lawyer doesn't want to take this to the Houston police. He stated that it's a conflict of interest where the lawyer has like a son-in-law that works for the force, and he also the chief of police doesn't like him, and because he ran for like the mayor or something crazy like that. So, in my opinion, the fact that you don't want to bring this to the police because you think it's going to be some wishy-washy nonsense, it's a red flag to me. Because like if there's serious allegations, like if there's serious crimes involved in this, your relationships shouldn't really matter to get some type of like some type of charges. But like you got 21 cases. Out of these 21, all of them are going to be denied because of you trying to run for mayor back in the day. I don't think so. So it just seems a bit crazy to me. I don't know who's telling the truth or who's not telling the truth, but at this current point, the fact that this lawyer does not want to go to the police is very, very bewildering to me. Kurt, your thoughts?
So, talking about Deshaun Randy Jackson Watson. From day one, when I heard the allegation, I said, he's a fool, right? He was out here trying to get his butthole touched by a masseuse. He is making black people all around the world look real, real bad right now.
Stop it. Get some help.
Yes, he needs help. He needs help. So I don't know if all the listeners out there know the allegations, right? So one of the allegations was he was laying on his stomach getting the massage, but he wanted the masseuse to focus on his inner thigh. So
what the fuck is this all about?
Exactly. So, he was getting the massage or whatever, and then he turned over. But he turned over and his penis was erect. and she touched his leg.
Reading these on paper means so much.
It's so crazy. And then she touched his leg again and he ejaculated.
Stop it. Get some help.
Oh man.
Yo, Randy Watson is a fool. So, all right, on a serious note, he had like 21 charges, but then he had 18 to come to his defense.
Yeah, to support him. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a red flag right there. Why does he have that many masseuses on Instagram?
That's
a lot, bro. Like, you can't tell me, because of COVID, I was, getting all these masseuses. Yo, you go to one place that has cameras that's always on you, so you can never be like in a bad situation of you're a millionaire, you got to protect yourself. Like, he should know that
for sure.
But I feel like he was literally trying to take advantage of some of these women, like, oh, I'm a millionaire, just beat me off real quick and I'll pay you. And the crazy thing is, like, the masseuses might have complied with it at that time, but felt violated and didn't say anything. And now, they're coming out to say stuff. Maybe not all of the allegations are correct, but where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah,
at least one of those, he like inappropriately touched that girl or ejaculated or something, and she felt assaulted. So he's just out here wilding. Like, you gotta, he needs Jesus.
Need Jesus. All right, Snow, your thoughts.
So this is my whole thing, because obviously we don't have any of the evidence from any of these 21 women outside of these crazy stories that get printed every couple of days, here or there. So my thing is this, right? One thing I know Desean Watson does not have is a lot of time. So when it's like, yeah, he has text conversations and DM conversations, that seems like so time consuming for somebody of his wealth. Like, I'm not really sitting here and saying, hey, let me DM this masseuse. Like, I'm not. That's the equivalent of like, hey, we're about to order something to eat. Who's making the call? Like, Desean Watson's gonna call and make the food order. Like, that's just so, you know what I mean? Like, so I feel like the time consuming part is just like that doesn't really add up. So that's one. The next thing is the 18 masseuses coming to his aid is also another like red flag, because like that's sketchy too. Like, why do you have so many different
why you got 18 masseuses in the tuck?
Right? Like why do you have that? Like, why aren't you just, like you said, why aren't you using like one company? One service? And then so the next thing that throws me off is like, after you get yourself in a situation, even if it's true, right? After you get yourself in a situation where like, yo, I need to apologize to one of these women. I know for a guaranteed fact, one woman had to be okay with the situation. Like, why not just go back to her? Or like, why not use the same masseuse over and over and over and over again, as opposed to let me get a new one. Let me get like, you should just have like if you got to get that many massages where it's like, yo, we got a case with 39 different masseuses, you need to have a masseuse on staff. Like, at that point, you need 39 different ones. Like, hey, you should just hire somebody and save yourself the headache of what you're going through right now. So,
or he was ejaculating on and was like, "Oh no, she didn't like it. Let me get a new one."
Yeah, I wonder, like, did he have like an Excel spreadsheet? Like,
exactly.
like, yeah,
like she liked it, she didn't.
Like, yeah,
she liked it, she didn't.
Yeah,
But
this
that's
one
what I'm
hands too strong or something crazy. Like I don't know, man. Like
exactly. But that's what I'm saying. Like you said, like there has to be out of all these mistakes, there had to be one that's like he turned over and she's like, "All right, let's go, let's do it." Like
Exactly, right?
That like for those services, that'd be $74.99. So like let's
Be
roll.
extra.
Yeah. So
plus tax.
exactly. So at some point, you have to be like, you know what? Instead of having to keep sending these text messages apologizing, I'm gonna just pay the extra $74.99 and go about my life. So that it just all the whole story is wild. The not giving evidence to the police, that's even more crazy.
That part is really confusing to me.
Because the lawyers seem to know, like, hey, this is the situation. Like, I wouldn't need, like, why would you even put it out there if you know, like, hey, we can't go to the police. Like, I would just keep building my case, and then once I got everything, let's just go to who we got to go to. Like, why keep doing it in pieces and pieces and pieces, like going from 3 to so it's just an odd story where somebody's lying and somebody's weird all at the same time.
Yeah, it's nuts. All right, moving on. I'm pretty sure we'll talk about this story next week and the following because I don't really see any resolve to this until like we get closer to the season and somebody start writing checks because if they're not going federal, then this is going to be a big check written. Everybody split the pie, and then the showings on the field after like a couple game suspension, and that'll be that. But speaking of games, the NFL owners have agreed to make the next season 17 games instead of 16. So more NFL games. They took away a preseason game and they added an actual regular season game. And according to some of the schedules that I saw, they all were the same. Where it's going to be AFC versus NFC. So my Cowboys they'll be playing the New England Patriots. Congrats to us on a loss. But yeah, man, I think we're getting to the territory where they need to add an extra bye in there because 17 games with one bye, like your body is hurt. We never played professional football, but the game is so vicious that when you're talking about 17 full games and you only get 1 week off, that's got to be that your body's just got to be going through it. So I think if not, they're not going to have a second bye this year, but maybe the following year that the players union can get together and fight for it. But I think for as fans, like the more games, the better. But I'm just like, man, like these owners are trying to squeeze all of that juice out of these players, and I mean the contracts should go up, but I just think that ultimately it's like, damn, like got to throw a second bye in there, or these players are really going to start breaking down. Any thoughts on that from either of you?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a good because when they did the CBA the year before that, the owners put in there a possibility of going to a 17 game, so you knew they were going to go to it because it's more money for them. Like Jerry Jones ain't running out there taking snaps for 17 weeks, so what the fuck does he care, So of course they're going to put these guys in that bad situation, man. It does suck though because, like you said, this is a full contact sport. 17 weeks, they're really getting beat up. CTE we know is an issue. Who was the Tampa Bay receiver that just suffered from it and killed himself?
Vincent Jackson.
Vincent Jackson. You know what I mean? Situations like that, you just got to ask yourself, without that 17th game, would that be saving somebody's life? You know what I mean? And all it takes is one life to save to make it worth it. You know what I mean? So it's just another example of how the owners really don't give a shit about the players, because when you think about it, like, it's just cattle for them, especially Dallas being like, the Longhorn State. These players are literally just cattle. Like, they're just going to use them as much as they can. Because I don't think Jerry would put his son out there to do that. You know what I'm saying? For 17 games. So it sucks. I just use Jerry because I hate the Cowboys.
And they hate you back.
Yeah, I think so I don't really care about the 17 games, but the thing that seems like to me is like extend the rosters, like make the roster size bigger. Like that's the easiest way. There's probably not there's not enough. I don't think there's enough quality quarterbacks, to really go making new teams or stuff like that. But I definitely think like there's guys out there at receiver or corner or linebacker that can play in the NFL to the point that you got practice squad. So those guys are right there on the cusp of being able to make an NFL, to be actively on an NFL team. So expand the rosters. Like if you're gonna add another game and you're not gonna give another bye, expand the rosters so at least like we got more bodies on hand, so guys aren't just going out there and getting killed week in, week out. At least we can, we have more people to rotate to take some of this load management off some of these guys. Because if not, people are going to do it anyway, where they're just going to, it's like the NBA. They're going to naturally build it into their roster of like, hey, we're just giving you a week off this week. If you're not the quarterback, we're just going to give you a week off this week just to lessen your load. Like at some point, that's going to come into play of, all right, we have an extra game. We only have a certain amount of bodies. We got to figure out a system to keep these guys fresh for the playoffs, because they're still and then they're only given one bye. So like, if you're in a position where like, we're doing well, but we're not the number one seed, we got to come up with a strategy to keep our guys fresh, to make it to the playoffs healthy and not get hurt with the same amount of guys. So I think the rosters need to be extended, especially if you're only going to keep one bye during the season and then one bye in the play. And, for the first place team, like you have to come up with a strategy to keep that load management down for like a running back. Like running backs seem to be, it's almost a dying position. Then you add another game. Like
a lot of wear and tear.
That's like one game, like that one game. That's a huge amount of wear and tear. So extend the roster. Yeah, extend the rosters. Like make the rosters bigger. There's a lot of things that they can do to help make that adding that one more game. More. Just to help with that, because that's a lot. Like you said, that's a lot. On one bye. It was a lot. It's 16 games with one bye. Like it's question. You know what I mean? So to add another game, and remove the extra, the second place team getting the bye, it's just like, I got to extend. I think that's the next thing, is that they're going to extend the rosters and make the roster size bigger. So,
yeah. And another thing that came out about the schedule is the wild card round. So this year, or this past season, it was 3 games on Saturday, 3 games on Sunday. It was great. This year, I think it's going to be 2 games on Saturday, 3 games on Sunday, and then they put a Monday night game as a playoff game. And I'm intrigued by it. I'm not going to say it's a bad idea, because everybody loves Monday Night Football. But to have a Monday Night Football game as a playoff game will be interesting, especially for the winner, because they'll have one less day of preparation going into the following week. So, I'm unless they play the team that has a bye, it might make it fair. But actually, no, it doesn't make it fair. It makes it worse. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out. I wonder how the ratings are going to be compared to like other games and other playoff weeks. But that's definitely something to look out for. And I didn't write this down, but I heard that Taheem's favorite coach, Hugh Jackson, is writing a book about his time with the Cleveland Browns and how he was lied to.
I'm always about a black man getting some money. I know Shiz doesn't like black people, but
come on.
But no, Hugh was a good man. He's just not a good coach.
Yeah, so essentially what this book is going to be about is how ownership lied to him about like personnel, because I think he went like 3-35 in his tenure with the Cleveland Browns. So
I could see ownership lying to a coach though, especially like if they don't agree with him, like the way he's coaching or running the team or whatever.
Yeah, so pretty much they have philosophical differences, I would imagine.
Philosophical differences,
and he was promised like personnel changes, and he said if he would have got the things that he was promised before, if he got the things that he was promised, he would have never took the job. So he's going to write a book saying that he was lied to, and I don't know if it's coming out with an audio version or whatever, but look out for that book, man.
Listen, man, ain't nobody trying to hear all that, man.
All right, round of applause for the NFL. All right, moving on to the NBA. We appear to have an arms race between the Lakers and the Nets. Lakers add Andre Drummond. Nets add LaMarcus Aldridge, Blake Griffin. These two are the heavy favorites to make it to the NBA Finals, and I put a bet in. This was like 2 months ago on the Nets to win the championship because I think the way Harden has adjusted his game is going to make this team really, really hard to beat. I do think the Lakers adding Drummond was a good move, but since AD and LeBron are out, they're in jeopardy of slipping into that playing round or them playing games, and anything can happen with that. Um, so it's just I don't know, like people are upset about these teams loading up, but I mean this has been happening in the NBA for a long time. It's just more of like with social media and more ways to contact people or speak with people via the internet. It just seems more of a uproar and an outrage. But at the end of the day, like I think the NBA is good with a villain. Like when Golden State was winning 70 plus games and then they add Kevin Durant and became nearly unbeatable, and then all that stuff. I think the NBA was more intriguing that way. And of course, like the Miami Heat with the big three, always the villain, but it was very intriguing. So I think having two villains now, one in the East, one in the West, I think that makes for an interesting playoff run. And I think if it came down to it, if the Knicks and Nets played, Knicks in six, man. Moving on. Kurt, your thoughts?
You are out of your fucking mind.
Knicks in six.
Knicks in six. It's only good because it rhymes, but it doesn't make sense. Yeah, I think it's not crazy, but it's wild how you see guys taking buyouts, and going to either one of these teams. I think what's happening is guys are seeing it like, yo, I've made my money. I've played on horrible teams, tried to get them to a championship, can't get them there. Why don't I go to one of these teams? You know what I mean, and help them get a championship. I think I don't want to say it's bad for the NBA because I see the players' point of view, but it makes it kind of like at the beginning of the season, you already know who's going to the championship. You already know who's going to the finals. So it takes the interesting part out of the game. You know what I mean? Because it's like, why am I watching it? Because I know who's gonna get there. Like you might watch the playoffs for the competition. You know what I mean? But ultimately, you know who's going to get there. And I think what it does is it makes it harder for other teams to get out of the basement. You know what I mean? Because all of the superstars or all of the good players are focused on one team. So you have a team like Detroit, right? They're going to be bad for the next decade. You know what I'm saying? Because they just don't have players and nobody's going there. So nobody's going to be that like centerpiece. Like when not the Knicks, when the Lakers were not good, the centerpiece was LeBron James. He went and then other people started to go, right? Who's going to be that first person to go to Detroit? Nobody.
Yeah, it's got to be through the draft.
Exactly. So, and the draft, draft is always hit or miss. So it's just going to make it hard. And you're not going to get that. I don't see guys coming out making that huge impact like guys like LeBron did when he came out. Kevin Garnett when he, came out. Like I don't see that out of players anymore. So it's just going to make the league one-sided as we go further.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's I think there's teams that can compete. I think the Clippers getting Rondo, I think that's a big, like, to me, as much moves that that the Lakers and the Nets are making, like they're kind of like, to me, they're lateral. Like they're not really like they didn't really get, like, you added like Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge. It's not like they're great. Then I mean, obviously they're great talents, but you can only play one of them at a time. I think if they run into like the Heat, for example, the Heat added Victor Oladipo, and the Heat are a team that, like, they've already had success. They have a system where everybody has a defined role, whereas opposed to the Nets are still kind of trying to figure it out. And like, as good as LaMarcus Aldridge is, like, as good as LaMarcus Aldridge is, as good as Blake Griffin is, like, they're really just kind of offensive talents. They're not really like a defensive showstopper, or like they're not guys that can really go and like, we're going to score without the ball being passed to us. Like that's not their role. So it's kind of hard to kind of see, like, so that, like, the Lakers getting Drummond, it makes sense because Drummond you don't need to pass him the ball. Like, that's not, like, just go get rebounds, get us extra possessions. Like, that's going to help us. But is that move more important than the Clippers getting Rondo? I don't think so, because I think that was the biggest thing holding the Clippers back was they didn't have anyone that can just simply run the offense and no and that wasn't, you know, Reggie Jackson. Like, so just getting somebody with a high basketball IQ, I think that's enough to like actually compete with the Lakers and not get beat by a team like Portland. You know what I mean? Just get randomly beat by a team because like, hey, we don't have a point guard. Like we can't stop anybody. We don't know what to do. So I think moves like that will help. You know, some of these teams be much more competitive in a playoff setting than people think. Like I don't think it's, even though the Nets and the Lakers, they keep adding guys, I don't think like these additions are pulling them that far apart from a team that's been together like the Bucks and the Heat or the Clippers that have a year now and like, you know, Golden State has been like, I think those teams that have been together for a while, they're still threats to a Lakers or a Nets where they're just adding new guys because those guys don't have defined roles yet and they don't know. You know, you still got to figure out your rotation, or, you know, you don't know. Like Andre Drummond, he got hurt. You know, he
hurt his big toe or something crazy.
Yeah, he hurt his big toe, but he may also get to the playoffs and mentally just snap and just be like, "Yo, I should be getting more minutes," and just destroy the locker room. Like you don't know guys like that, so you just never know. So I don't, as much as it's an arms race between those two, and it kind of seems set in stone. I think it's closer than what we think.
Yeah. All right, but keeping it with the Nets, Kevin Durant, who's been out with a hamstring injury, he hasn't been on the court, but his Twitter fingers have been working.
He's been popping off.
Instagram fingers have been working. So he and Michael Rappaport, a person that I do not like.
You don't like Michael Rappaport?
He's the corniest dude in show business, but that's neither here or there. But yeah, him and Kevin Durant got into a back and forth exchange. I guess there was some type of business that they were doing when he was with Golden State, and I guess it kind of trickled over and messed up their relationship. And Michael Rappaport shared their private DMs back and forth, and you know Kevin Durant was cussing and you know saying "Come see me out in the streets" like he ain't 7 foot, just doing a whole bunch of crazy talk. And is this another example that like Kevin Durant? He just doesn't know how to like he's going to respond, and I guess it's a good thing or it's a bad thing, but you got to understand, like, yo, you're Kevin Durant. People are going to say stuff just to get under your skin because they can't be you. So to get into a back and forth with a troll like Michael Rappaport and have him put it on, you know, the internet for the media to see, man, I mean, I know it's not going to affect you in any way, but man. What a waste of time. Unnecessary nonsense brought to the net. And, you know, while I don't think it affects the team, it's just like, why? Why do you continuously get in these back and forths with people that you either don't know or not important to you? I just don't understand it. But hey, this is Kevin Durant. I guess he might just be bored. Who knows? But yeah, any thoughts on this?
He said some pretty wild shit in there. Like, this is tough, man, because he said some homophobic stuff. He said some racial stuff. Like you got to wonder if the league is going to take action because they know about it now. You know what I mean? Like you can't just have them out here wilding out saying crazy stuff because at the same point, like I don't think African Americans would like to see like Luka Doncic wilding out in a DM like that. Calling people an N-word, you know what I'm saying? So it's just bad for Kevin Durant. Like he's a great basketball player, but yo, he's too soft because he got baited into that. You know what I mean? At some point, you make millions of dollars, just be like, all right, whatever, and don't respond. Like, why are you a millionaire with a burner account?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like
speaking of burner account, real off topic, I saw that Freddie Gibbs has a burner account to like talk shit to people that can't rap. So. But that's something
totally different though, because Freddie is funny. You know what I'm saying? Like Freddie does the funniest things ever. So, and like Freddie would come by and shoot you probably, but like Kevin Durant is a basketball player. You know what I'm saying? Like it's different. Like Freddie Gibbs has a burner account so he doesn't go to jail. Kevin Durant has one, so he doesn't get caught and get beat up. You know what I mean? So it's totally different. I'm disappointed in Kevin Durant.
Yeah, it's nonsense. But Snow, any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Sign up. Only because of who he's talking to. I'm all for it. Like it's not.
Like Michael, you don't like Michael either.
I actually don't mind Michael Rappaport, but at the same time, I also think Michael Rappaport is somebody that talks absolutely crazy. So
yeah,
and some of the stuff he talks about is you know what I mean? Is like, hey, listen, man, like listen, I understand. Like at some point, you don't need to tell people you're born in New York, Michael Rappaport. Like we've established that. Like there's no need to. So
does he say that a lot?
Of course, he
definitely uses that as like a toughness card.
Yeah. So because of who he's talking to, I don't really care about it. Isn't like us. So I'll say this: it wasn't like, oh man, Kevin Durant came out of nowhere talking to Michael Rappaport crazy. Like, no, Michael Rappaport did something to bring that conversation on. So I'm all for that. Like, go for it, because I know there's a part of that DM conversation that he said
Michael said he deleted his portion of the back and forth.
Yes, a friend of mine told me he did that.
Yeah, absolutely, he did. So that's my thing. It isn't like, so how it looks there, it looks like Kevin Durant is just rambling on saying crazy things, and that's not the case. Michael Rappaport is talking just as crazy. So because of the two parties that are involved, that I'm all for it, and nobody should care regardless. Like that's just the way. Like that's just the way that conversation is gonna go. Same thing. Like if I see a back and forth between like Freddie Gibbs and 50 Cent, I'm not gonna go and say, "Oh man, I don't know why Freddie Gibbs is saying those things to 50 Cent." Like no, I know what I know who he's talking to, and I understand what's occurring. Like this is not a 50 Cent is just not responding and Freddie Gibbs is just rambling on. Like that's how I feel about it. It's not like, oh, Kevin Durant is just talking crazy to Michael Rappaport, and Michael Rappaport is not responding. Like no, that's a back and forth, and so I'm all for it because of who's involved. But I don't think it helps Kevin Durant. And like you said, like at the end of the day, like Kevin Durant probably could be using his time to rehab more wisely.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Stephen A. No stranger to getting himself into a jam. So Russell Westbrook had a pretty amazing game earlier this week. He had like 35 points, 20 assists, like 12 rebounds, whatever. And Stephen A. the next day on First Take was saying that he doesn't care about the numbers. He cares about championships. And Westbrook replied and said, "I'm already a champion. I made it out the hood, and now I'm in the NBA," which is, I guess that's true.
That's a good point.
And then Westbrook's wife chimed in, criticizes Stephen A. Asking him like why is he always talking about her husband and things of that nature. Pretty much defended him as like any good wife would do. Any thoughts on this? Did Stephen A. cross the line, or is this just like nonsense?
No, I think he was doing his job.
See, no, I don't. So the only thing I'll say about this one with Stephen A. and Russell Westbrook's wife is like Stephen A. One thing Stephen A. doesn't do that I hate is that he doesn't he flirts on a sports and like personal level. Like that's different. So like, for instance, Stephen A. will be like, "Hey, Kyrie Irving needs to retire." Like,
yeah, he did say that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, that's not really that's not evaluating someone. You know what I mean? Like, you're going from somebody's like on the court skill to like, yo, they have issues. They need to. So like, you're not just analyzing the game. Like Stephen A. didn't say, "Hey, listen, man, that's a good game from Russell Westbrook, but it'd be better if he was doing this, on a team that's actually contending." Like he's saying, when he says like, "Hey, Russell Westbrook needs to prioritize championships," he's almost saying like That's like telling somebody like, hey, you don't need to be doing nothing else, no commercials. You don't need to be doing nothing. You need to be focusing on winning. Like that's the type of, I feel like, attitude he's putting out there. And he just doesn't, so I'm happy this happened because he doesn't check himself in those situations of like, oh yeah, Russell Westbrook did just open up a school. So you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, you can't really tell somebody that's like doing great things for the community. Like he said, he came out of where he came from to make it to the NBA. And then you go, oh, you need to prioritize championships.
Yeah.
Like you're too smart. You're on too big of a stage to not be aware of what you just said. Like there's no way you can tell a guy that just opened up a school within the last 30 days, oh, you need to prioritize championships. Like to me, I took it as like, oh, he's doing too much and not focused on playing winning basketball and winning championships. And it's like, yo. So I'm happy it happened because he definitely needs to be checked in that regard of like, yo, you flirt too much with acting like you know guys personally, like and speaking on things and then thinking you can just get away with it. Nobody's going to say anything.
Yeah. The one thing I'll say is I think all sportscasters and newscasters, I think they all flirt with that. Like, you know what I mean? They all, especially now because of social media, like everything is out there, right? Everybody can connect and, and talk and get immediate response out there. Like that's going to be Kevin Durant's downfall. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People criticize him on TV, some doing their job, some being super harsh or whatever it may be. But now he has the avenue to react, which players didn't have the avenue to react before. It just took a lot longer time for it to get, out. And by the time it got out, it was just like, oh, well, fuck it, I don't care anymore. But I do applaud his wife for coming to his defense. I mean, because she was like, and she didn't even come at Stephen A. like on some old, wild ass crazy shit. She was very respectful and professional with it. So, kudos to her. But yeah, I just think that those media personalities or whatever, they push the line too far, too much sometimes. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just think it takes one good time for one of the dudes to get beat up. Like, even if you're going to say the wrong thing about the wrong person, that's like, yo, I'm really a Crip. But
I'm really crazy. Like,
I'm a Crip, but I can play basketball really well. So the next time you see me at the ESPYs, I'm dragging you all over this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's what's going to take for guys to back down and remember, like, these guys have lives outside of the sports. So you can't disrespect somebody and then think it's all cool. Like, oh man, I'm just doing my job. Well, I'm gonna do mine and beat the shit out of you too.
So. That's the one thing I hate about. I'm just doing my job. Well, if your job entails if you disrespected me, then fuck your job. Like,
I'm gonna disrespect you.
Yeah, I'm gonna disrespect you by punching you in the face. Like, and that'd be that. But moving on, fellas, we failed again as black men, I guess.
Boy.
So, WNBA player for the New York Liberty, Lasia Clarendon, she tweeted that the amount of black men who drag our league and blame women for their problems while not making the connection to how that's exactly what white people do to you regarding your race just blows my mind. That's a double whammy of being black and a woman.
Wait. You gotta.
She's speaking directly to y'all too. She ain't talking to me. She's speaking directly to y'all too.
She's talking to Shiz because Shiz don't like black people.
No, the thing is, like, I watch the WNBA. Like, I like when there's like when the NBA is not going in the summertime. Like, I'll watch the WNBA game and be thoroughly entertained. And 60%, some statistics, 60% of viewers of the WNBA game are men, black men, or men in general. So I don't understand. I think where this stems from is the pay difference.
Yeah,
WNBA players see guys getting paid crazy amount of money, and then in the WNBA they see the top players making like $1 million. And
so remember what, like 2 or 3 years ago when Brittany Grinder or Grindsman or whatever her name is.
See, this is what you talk about right here. Go ahead.
Because I didn't know.
Grindsman.
Yo, people fuck my name up. People literally,
Brittany Griner. Go ahead.
People literally fuck my name up all the time, so I don't care. Yeah, whoever she is. Remember she said Tyler Hasbro was trash and she could beat him or something like that.
No, she said. I think she said to DeMarcus Cousins.
Cousins, yeah.
No, she said it's a white dude too, though. No, or a real light skinned black dude that played for the Heat at the time.
Yeah, I don't know who that was.
Yeah,
But I know,
he had like the curly hair. What I forgot. Yeah.
I know she challenged DeMarcus Cousins in no disrespect, but hey,
that's stupid.
That's an 11-0
win easy. Like, and the thing about it is, like, I remember the clip, like when they told DeMarcus he said that, he literally just laughed, like, and went on about his business. Like, and that's the thing that sometimes I don't like. Like I'm a man, you're a woman. I believe in equality. I believe in, we are equal. We can be partners, but don't challenge me physically.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Don't because I don't want to be put in a weird situation because I'm not going to hit a female, but at the same time, like I don't want you just running up on me because I'm not going to hit you and you like trying to accost me, chill.
And the thing is, like, it's the comparison is just off. Like, you're comparing. It's not like you're both working at Merrill Lynch. Like it's not like you're both at the same company. These are two separate companies. The WNBA, their gross is like, 5 million or whatever. The NBA is like 5 billion. So the scale is just totally different.
And
so
we're taking some zeros out of your paycheck.
Yeah. So when you ask for like equal pay, it's two different companies. So it's the same thing. Like, all right, if somebody is working at, a Fortune 500 company, or if somebody's working at, a family business, you can't demand the same amount of money because there's not enough revenue stream coming in. It's the same thing. So it's not about women in male. It's about the company. The WNBA
and it's really not about it's not about black men either. Like I'm sure this lady, Lashaya Calderon, she went to college.
Clarendon. I don't know how you got Calderon, but go ahead.
So I'm surprised. She's super smart. But I think what she's really trying to say is she's pissed off at the NBA, but she doesn't want to say it because, us three can't get her millions of dollars. All we could do is watch. We can't get her the support she needs. The NBA can, and they won't do it. But she won't come out outright and be like, "Yo, fuck the NBA." She won't do that. She'll just say "fuck black men," which is, come on, man.
The standard.
Whoa,
wait, what?
That's yo. Black men get blamed for a lot of things. That might be one of your health is wealth topics. We get blamed for a lot of things.
I see what you're saying. Yes.
So a couple of things are first off, I'm old enough to remember comments like I can get together a group of guys and we can go beat the U.S. Olympic women's team in a game of basketball.
So I was 22 years old. That was 13 years ago. That was 13 years ago.
This doesn't like progress.
Yeah, so I can understand where the level of disrespect she may receive on a daily, because there are people out there that can think like, you know what, me and the fellas
right now.
Yeah, me and the fellas can get together and go beat Olympic athletes and get So that's one thing. Then the other thing
I was dead ass though, but you gotta tell it in full context. I said if we were coached by Coach K for 2 months.
No.
And we got in shape.
Yeah.
We would be able to compete. That's what I said. But I was 22 though. I was a young dude.
But that's what I'm saying. There's 22-year-old dudes, right? I'm just saying, I can understand probably the level of disrespect she receives. You know what I'm saying? I can understand that.
But the thing is, I don't. My comment wasn't like a disrespect to the WNBA game. It's just
that's very much so.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's not. I'm not like. And this is where perception comes in, because in Shiz's mind, he spoke the gospel. If he got the coaching and he was in shape, he could go to a WNBA court and whoop their asses.
Which is not.
But in reality, no, he can't.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So it's all about perception and what you perceive. Like you perceive that to be true.
Yeah.
But we know it's not.
So my next thing is this, right? This is my next thing is I don't understand it. I still don't know why the WNBA doesn't do it. Any other female athletic event that involves jumping, there's always an adjustment somewhere. When you talk about volleyball,
Yeah,
and-
hurdles is
right? Women's volleyball is comfortably more popular than men's volleyball, I would say, from my knowledge. Probably, maybe due to the outfits, maybe not. But regardless, women's volleyball is definitely, to me, in my eyes, more popular than men's volleyball. The nets are lower.
Yeah, it seems like you know. The thing is, like, if the WNBA, like, going to your point, like, if there was more, like, if you seen, you know, somebody in the WNBA come down to a windmill, you're like, wow, like
Yeah.
you'll that'd be very intriguing, and the ratings would go up for
Yeah.
sure, in my opinion.
So
go ahead.
you have like volleyball. The nets. I'll say the nets are lower in volleyball. When you talk about hurdles, track and field, women's track and field is just as popular. They're athletic. They're not unable to jump a higher hurdle, but the hurdles are lowered for the women, so that it makes more sense. Like, hey, they're naturally shorter than these tall men run. Like, we should probably lower the hurdles a little bit for women's events, which they do. Now, if you're talking about swimming, right, something that doesn't involve jumping, the distances are the same. So, like, when you talk about basketball, that's a sport that requires a lot of jumping. We probably should lower the rims. I'm not saying lower the rims like, oh, you know what? Take the rims from 10 feet to 7 feet. Like,
No.
that's crazy. That, you know what I mean? Like, that's
Just
ridiculous.
just make them 9'6".
Yeah, make them 9.5. I'm not saying go. So that's my thing, right? Is that you can't tell me that lowering the rims is disrespectful, but using a smaller basketball isn't. Like, women use a smaller basketball. Why?
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
women naturally have smaller hands than men, so let's make the ball a little bit small. Like, I just don't. That part always baffles me. Of like, oh well, lowering the rims would be disrespectful, but let them use a smaller basketball. Like, if we're gonna try to adjust it to make the game as entertaining and as appealing to it is to grow crowds, I think they need to make adjustments all the way around. The same way that, like, they have all these adjustments in that sport, but they won't lower the rims. It's the craziest thing. You have a smaller basketball. The 3-point line much closer, right? Like, what would extending the women's, like, what would be the point of extending the women's 3-point line out to the men's 3-point line? It would be the dumbest thing you could do. So I just don't get it, where you're making adjustments to all these other areas, but you won't lower the rims, which I think would save it. I think it would. I'm not saying save it, but it would definitely make for a much more entertaining game.
Yeah.
So
but
what I didn't realize is, well, I mean, I knew it, but I didn't like put two and two together. Yeah, why not lower the rim? Because the like you said, the ball is smaller.
Yeah,
And the 3-point line is closer.
Closer.
So naturally, why wouldn't you lower the rim?
Good question, and I think that would literally make the game way more entertaining, because, like, we all love, it would just, the game would just seem more physical, like somebody, catches an alley oop, or like a putback dunk, or a fast break dunk. You see some, like, one handers every now and again, but in an NBA game, you're liable to see 10 dunks, 10, 15 dunks in one single game. And if we were able to see that in the WNBA game, I think it definitely would make the show a lot better. So that's really, I agree 100%. Like, if they were, a simple fix could be lowering the rims a half a foot, and we'll see some more, like, some more flashy moves and dunks. That'd make it way more entertaining, in my opinion, for sure. All right. Anything else left in the NBA or WNBA? No.
No, I mean,
Round of applause. Moving on. We don't really talk about college basketball, but the Final Four is here. Gonzaga, Baylor, Houston, and UCLA. Gonzaga, Baylor, and Houston, they're a lower seed, but UCLA, the 11th seed, this is pretty much historic where I think they're tied for like the lowest seed to ever make the Final Four. So, great coaching by the UCLA coach. They will be matched up against Gonzaga, and I think they're a 14-point underdog, which is like almost a record, I believe. So, very uphill battle to climb. Baylor and Houston should be a good matchup. I think Gonzaga is probably going to win it all. They just seem like it's their destiny. Even though I do think Baylor, if they were to make it to the final, would give them a challenge. But I think ultimately Gonzaga is going to win this whole thing. Any thoughts on that?
Man, Michigan's out. Fuck this whole thing.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it'll be close. I think it just speaks to like now. I think the parity, like I think just so much basketball is being played. I think we're starting to see it like spread out more. Because I think they were saying like this is the first time that all the teams in the Final Four are like west of the Mississippi. Like this is like the first time that that's happened. And I just think it's just people are playing more basketball. As much as I want to say Gonzaga can win by 14, 14's that's a lot of points.
That's a lot, bro.
That's a lot to give up. But I think they've won all their games by double digits. So Gonzaga, this seems to be their year. If they don't win it this year, I mean, I would be shocked. For them if they didn't win it this year. They seem to be clear cut the best team in the country. They've been number one, I think, all year. Like you said, I think Baylor could challenge them, but I think they should win the whole thing.
Yeah. All right, moving on. We had some breaking news today. My favorite college basketball team is North Carolina. Roy Williams retires at 70 years old. He's been coaching college basketball for over 30 years. Great win with the Tar Heels. He kind of started to slip a little bit lately, but we had some violations that we had to get through. But yeah, 3 championships with the Tar Heels. He brought some stability to the team because before that, with the 10, 13 years between Dean Smith and Roy Williams, those were some bad times, like just bad basketball. But yeah, shout out to Roy Williams. Definitely going to miss him as a coach. Interested to see who they're going to bring in. I saw some wildness. I saw like Kenny the Jet Smith, Rasheed Wallace, Tyler Hansborough, all long shots, of course. The favorite right now is Hubert Davis. I'm not really a fan of that move. I would prefer somebody like Brad Stevens that's coaching the Boston Celtics, or Mark Few that's coaching Gonzaga right now. But at the end of the day, man, a lot of these coaches are getting old. Like Boeheim is older, Coach K is older, Rick Pitino's older. So these guys are going to start retiring. I wasn't expecting Roy to retire like this offseason, but within the next few years. But yeah, man, hell of a run, and definitely going to miss his presence because he brought some energy to the sideline. But he could retire. He's rich. He can live the rest of his life on the beach if he wants to. But round of applause for me to Coach Roy Williams. Any thoughts on that?
Why did you do a round of applause to you?
From me to Roy Williams.
Oh, from you to I thought you were saying a round of applause to me. I was like, what?
Put them IPAs down, man.
I don't drink IPAs. I don't drink that piss water.
But no, I know this is you're a Duke fan, rival team.
Oh yeah.
Any thoughts on Big Roy?
Nah, man. Roy's a great coach. Roy's like you said, Roy's a great coach. One of the best college. Best college basketball coaches ever, man. Like you said, those type of guys, they can retire. Like him, Coach K, Jim, they could go 0-30 for 3 seasons, and their legacies are in stone already. Like it doesn't matter when you've had that much success, as those two have had throughout their career. So yeah, man, if he wants to retire, man, he can go for it. And then for the coaching candidates coming in, I think like it's North Carolina. You can put near us at coaches, and you'll still be somewhat of a success when you have like they're just that good. So when you talk about putting like Hubert Davis as coach, he's under Roy Williams. Not too much is going to change. Like he's going to run everything Roy Williams would run anyway. Like only thing that may take a dip is the recruiting, you know, because you don't have
huge dip.
Yeah, you would take a hit in the recruiting just because you don't. When you walk into living rooms, you don't have, you know, those national championships as a head coach. But Hubert Davis is play. He has the connections though. He's playing the NBA. He knows these kids that are coming in now's parents. He knows them on that level. So it could work.
I just think his shape up might prohibit some of the bigger recruits to come to North Carolina when you see the shape up that he has and the lack of coaching experience as a head coach.
His shape up? What's his name?
Hubert Davis. It'll pop up for sure.
Yeah, but I think but now with these college coaches, I think a lot of these college coaches, I think the relationships with like that, you know, with the NBA players, I think that's a huge thing because I think that's what like whatchamacallit, like Juwan Howard, how fast he turned. That's definitely hugely in part to like having like a big network of NBA players like on your side to help you recruit. So I think that's becoming like a big part of it of like, yo, who you know that can make these calls for you. Because that's going to get.
He doesn't have too bad of a shape up. It looks like Austin Rivers' father, Doc Rivers.
Yeah, he was all right.
Wait, current Doc or Doc back in the playing days?
No, like current Doc. Like you know how current Doc, like he's balding and he just is mad light. He kind of looks like he has one of those.
Listen, man.
Okay.
Hubert would be fine, man.
Right. Yeah, you call him Pubert to be all right.
Hubert Davis. All right, but round of applause to Roy Williams again. All right, we had some devil music come out this week, and so Lil Nas X, you know, he had the big hit, Old Town Road back like last year, 2 years ago. He came out with a new song, new music video of him giving the devil a lap dance. I didn't watch it, but people were talking about it. And then he made some counterfeit Nikes where you know, there was blood on them and all this crazy stuff. I'm just not a fan. Like you guys know, I grew up in the church, and you know, this type of stuff is just like I don't really get down with this stuff. I don't even wear like people talk about like the New Jersey Devils and wearing their hats. I don't even wear that type of stuff, man. Anything with the devil, I ain't doing it. Like, so with this, I just find it like ultimately like supremely disrespectful. Like, people are just so comfortable with playing on God's name. Some people don't believe in God, so you know, like if you don't believe in God, then this means nothing to you. But to people like I said, grew up in the church, I find this is like heavily disrespectful. You know, I ain't gonna wish no ill will on the kid because like, you know, he's just misguided in my opinion. But I found this like super offensive, wildly disrespectful, and yeah, man, just wasn't a fan, and you know, I can't get down with this nonsense. And you know, that was really my thoughts. And I saw him, you know, arguing back and forth with people, and you know, he was really getting at like Republican people, which was like whatever. I'm not a Republican, but still, like the Christianity portion of Republicans, like I am with that. So definitely was offended by it. But you know, I don't. At the end of the day, I don't care because I ain't gonna watch. But I saw people like on Twitter supporting this. I'm like, yo, y'all all stupid. But at the end of the day, he's going to do what he wants to do. People are going to absorb it, and at the end of the day, when you face God at the pearly gates, you want the answer to that. But those are my thoughts. Kurt, I'll start with you.
As a man of God, I think this is highly disrespectful and outlandish. Like, what? Like, why the fuck would you do that? Like, what? Like you? Like he was like twerking on the devil. What message are you trying to send? Like, I don't understand any of that shit. That's like when my brain like cuts off because I don't get any of it. So I raised this question, right? Lil Nas X is what's it politically correct term for being it was homosexual, right? So he's homosexual. So some people find being homosexual offensive, right? So they talk out about it. But then people come to the defense of people that are homosexual and say you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't talk about these people. You should accept them into society because they are human beings. They are. But Lil Nas went out and he disrespected Shiz's faith. So why should Shiz accept that? Like, why shouldn't Shiz should be given the right to go beat the shit out of him? And that's just it.
I mean, if you want to give the devil a lap dance, that's your prerogative. That
no,
ain't got...
but you see what I'm saying? Like, people would come to his defense because of his orientation, right?
Yeah,
like society has gotten to that point.
Yeah, that's the thing that ultimately pissed me off was what if you come to his defense, that's one thing, but if you come to his defense and disrespect people that are Christian, that's
Christian, what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
That's the part that y'all could really get smacked out here.
And that's what I'm saying, because I know you growing up in the church. So when you say you're disrespected by that, I believe that. Like, if some Joe Schmo off the street told me that, I'm like, all right, kiss my ass, whatever. But I know you, so I understand that. So what gives him the right to do something like that and disrespect you? But at the same time, you have to play nice, though. You can't say anything about him being homophobic. I just think it's wild. You know what I'm saying? You should be able to, voice your opinion and not be so humble, because I feel like you're being super humble right now because we're being videotaped and you don't want this to get out. I think you're being super humble right now, which is cool. I understand you're taking the high road, but so for all the Christians out there, why do they have to take the high road when they ultimately feel disrespected by this kid, and at the same time they give him the same respect and they don't go out and disrespect people that are
I think
homosexual?
I think and I think they feel like they've been oppressed, and now they're speaking out, which is at the end of the people want to compare their fights to being black. That's how I look at it. Everybody wants to compare their fight to being black, how black people had to, fight for their rights, the civil rights movement, fight to be able to vote, fight to be able to work, and all this type of stuff. People use that as a baseline for everything that takes place. And now we have people that are devil worshippers fighting against Christianity because they feel like they were oppressed. And I'm just like, yo, are y'all insane?
They are.
And it doesn't make sense to me. And we're in a wave now where if you speak back on people that feel oppressed, you're the bad guy. So we're kind of silenced in a way. We're looked at as you're conservative mindset. We can't progress. Some things are just yo, you're messing with the core of life, or the core values of the life of people. Yeah. And Christianity is not racial, or it's not oppressing. It's just you believe in the Lord. And,
it's your religion. It's what you believe in. It gives you peace. So why not? You should be able to do that.
Yeah, and it's all crazy to me, man. And at the end of the day, gotta get them, and that'd be it. And that.
So I raised that question because if you look in society, that's all that people are doing now is they feel oppressed. I can't walk on that side of the street. I'm oppressed, and I'm going to compare that to the struggles of Black people. What I'm saying?
It's insane.
They've all ultimately been depressed. So I was on Facebook the other day, and a friend of mine who's Black, he was like, "Yo, can women raise men?" Right? And I was just like, from a single mother, I honestly said, coming from a single mother with no father figure, I was like, no, women can't raise men. They can raise good people. You know what I mean? But I ultimately think it takes a man to raise a man just by, giving them values, giving them a positive example, right? And then another guy jumped into it, and they were going on and on and on or whatever. This other guy, he's like, all right, and I knew he was baiting me, and he was baiting my friend. And he was like, all right, so define to me what a man was, and this was coming from another man. And at that point, I just said no. Because you're trying to bait me. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to bait me into some huge discussion. I feel like now you kind of just got to say what you say and then walk away. Because if not, like people are always trying to test you and push your buttons, and they're gonna always be like, "Yo, well, I have the right to do that because like I felt disrespected." Like you felt disrespected about me giving my perception about something. I gotta smack the shit out of you for that. Like
Yeah,
what do you, like you know, what is it? Where are we getting to at this point in society?
yeah, it's like when you bring up like beliefs and politics, like people can be friends without like we can have totally polar opposite Christianity beliefs,
Mhm.
total polar opposite political beliefs, but we can still be friends because we have things in common. Like I think sports brings together a lot of different people from a lot of different backgrounds, and that's why you can be friends with certain people. But when people start to disrespect like your beliefs and your thoughts and your values, that's where the line gets crossed. So like for you, for example, where you're speaking from experience, like talking about being raised by a single mother and needing like male guidance is very important. He was trying to bait you, and that's just the internet. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like he would not say that to you face to face, and that's the problem that I have. Like yo, you're talking crazy, but if I was to see you on Fifth Avenue, then it was like, oh, I didn't mean to
Something
say
totally
that.
different.
Like,
Yeah, he acting like Kevin Durant out here. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Just
but
going crazy.
go. Snug, you ain't talking about. What are your thoughts on Lil Nas X Devil?
So I didn't watch the video. I saw the sneaker. I think Tahim, I think you put the sneaker like I get, and I was just like, once I saw 666 on the sneaker, I was like, no. I didn't even realize.
I said no. I didn't even see that portion. I saw like the thing that caught me about the picture was he had like the demon eyes in there.
Yeah,
and I was like, yo, what the fuck is going on? And I posted it.
So the first thing I saw was just like the sneaker with just like the 666 on. I was like, I'm not interested. So later on, of course on Facebook, I seen somebody posting about it, and so then I'm like, how the hell did Nike sign off on this? Like this is wild. Like this is a wild thing.
I was shocked. I was like, yo, Nike
so again, I never look into it because I don't really care. So further down the road, I found out that like Nike is suing them for like branding
for doing that. Yeah,
I was like, oh, okay, that's the part of the conversation that I was waiting for. But to me, I mean, this is a Kanye West trick. I got bad music. I got to do something to make y'all watch it. This is all
to get y'all to watch.
Yeah,
it.
This is all is to be honest.
Yeah.
Why what was Kanye West album? Yeezus. Like same thing. Like I'm a pull those emotional religious chords to get you to suck you in. So now whether you like it or you hate it, you're gonna watch the video because there's a lot of people that get baited into that of like, oh, there's a kid dancing with the devil, like giving him a lap dance. Oh, I got to see this just so I can talk negatively about it. All the meanwhile, he gets streams, he gets views, he gets paid. All it takes from Lil Nas X is one, oh, you know what? This was taken out of context in a month after his video views have gone through the roof and he's been on the news for months and he's in the clear. So this is again something I've seen before. This is I don't really have a good body of music. How can I get people to listen to this? Oh, you know what? Let me do the most extreme thing I could possibly do and make a video giving the devil a lap dance and see it and let people react to it. And I'll sit back and collect my money. So that's a very
interesting point.
That's how I take it. Like, I think like Lil Nas X actually worships the devil or wants to give the devil a lap dance? Most likely not. Do I think Lil Nas X wants to sell? Wants to sell records and make money and will go to any length to do that? Absolutely. That's how I look at it. So I haven't watched the video. I really could care less about the whole thing because I think it's just a publicity stunt to suck people in to talking about this man or watching his, horrendous music video, which probably is a horrendous song. Also, I
don't even know what the words or lyrics to the song are. I just saw the images of the video and I was like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, like that's.
Nah, but I didn't even think about the whole Kanye West route because like he went completely off the deep end. Like he started making like gospel music and then now he's getting sued by these singers and all this type of stuff. And you could be you're probably on track with this being a publicity stunt. The label's telling him like, yo, man, you need to pay us some of this money back on your advance, or we're
Yeah.
gonna have some problems. So, dance with this devil, apologize later,
Yo.
and then pay us back. And
So, and that was another thing I was saying, like, right, because Nike's suing them, right? So this sneaker may actually never even see the day of it may never even see somebody's feet. But look at all this publicity that this man got.
Well, I think he had like a limited edition that he did sell. He sold I think he sold 666 of them at $1,000 each.
Because the same people that made this shoe, they made another shoe, same Air Max that was all white and it had holy water in it.
Yeah, so and these had like blood in them.
Yeah, these had blood in them. Yeah.
So do you really think they were going to churches and collecting holy water in it, or they just think they just pulled Poland Spring in a bottle of an Air Max? And
they got Kirk Franklin to bless it. And they poured Air Max.
Exactly. So like, you know what I mean? Like, so what? So you say he sold 1,000 pairs. That's a little over $500,000. Yeah. $500,000 can't buy you this press.
No, it cannot. Yeah. You make valid points, but at the end of the day, man, people out there to stop disrespecting Christianity out in the public, man, because like even though you may not believe in it, to disrespect people that believe in it, like that's not cool. And if you say it to my face, I'm liable to smack you in the name of Jesus.
All in the name of Jesus.
And all right, lastly, we missed this topic last week. But Kirk Franklin, we missed him going off on his son in the name of Jesus. Him and his son have had a rift, I guess, for multiple years, and sometimes people underestimate or are very surprised when like Christian folk get angry. Like I've been around it. I've been around it. Like I've seen a lot of Christian people just start cussing because they're pissed, and it happens. But Kirk Franklin, a public figure, the face of gospel music, some would argue. When the son shares a recording of an argument back and forth, that was a sucker move, in my opinion. Keep family business as family business. But yeah, man, Kurt had a moment, and Taheem, your name is Kirk Franklin for the day. Give us your thoughts.
So let me take you gentlemen through my thought process as I'm processing these curse words that Kurt was letting out into God's earth. He was disrespecting God's air by fucking cursing so much. But anyway, so I believe in God, but I don't go to church. I feel like if I go to church, I'd fucking burst into flames. So I don't go. I don't really know.
He wants all sinners to attend church, but go ahead.
No. I don't know anything about Kirk Franklin except like what the media portrays him. So I thought like Kirk Franklin's like a pastor or a deacon or I thought he held some position in the church, but he doesn't. He's a regular dude. He is a holy maestro. That's all he is.
Pretty
much.
He's
a holy conductor. So I think, he can curse. He can do whatever the fuck he wants to because he's not living that life like a spiritual leader. It really is. You know what I'm saying? I think it's super wild though that he was. Because what did he say? He said something like, "I'll fuck you up."
Yeah, he went off. He went off.
He was like, "I'll choke you out" or some shit like that. And people say, it's not good because his son revealed it. You know what I mean?
A sucker move, in my opinion. You don't reveal family business like that.
No, you don't. You don't. But even like if it stayed in between those two, I still think he's wrong because he's the adult. He is the father. He said that they have issues and they've had a long history of issues. So at any time a conversation with your son, it can drive you off the rails. So at that point, you have to go into the conversation knowing, I can't let him bait me. I can't let him get me to that point. And if he starts to get you there, hang up the phone. Like, you don't take care of him. He was like 34 years old or something like that. Like, so you can't show weakness like that. You can't become so emotional like that. You curse out your son at that. You know what I mean? He still came from your balls. Like you can't be wilding out on him and shit like that. Like you got to teach him. You know what I'm saying? Like you know what I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like I just. Like, and people are coming to his defense, like, well, he's a grown man, but he's still a son, though. Like, you can't, like, I don't have kids, but I can tell you this right now: if I do have kids, I'll never curse at my kids like that. No matter what they do, I'll never curse at my kids like that. Like, 'cause that's just
I can't make that guarantee, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, like I feel like if I was disrespecting my dad the way he's disrespecting his dad, I could see my dad wilding out on me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because at some point the level of disrespect is just too like listen,
maybe because like I just said, I grew up fatherless, so I don't know that. So I don't know that side of the spectrum. But my thing is like, if you curse, if you get me to that point where I gotta curse, I'm not gonna curse. I'm just gonna fight you. Like if you gonna get me angry, I'm just taking out all the anger.
So this is what I'll say. And I think this is for any. I'm not even gonna say parent, even if it's like a niece or nephew. Like your niece or nephew is just talking crazy. Like, listen. Have you lost your mind? Like, so I can see that happening. I think well, like you said, I was always a believer. Like, yo, Kirk Franklin's he's like a minister.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You know what I mean? Like he's Joel Osteen. Like, he's him.
Exactly. I was like, yo, when I first heard this, I was like, yo, I think Shiz was listening to him Sunday give out the good word. Yo, what's going on? Like, I was in the thing. It's crazy because y'all know I'm nuts. When I heard this, I was so ready to come at Shiz's neck. Like, yo, so what's going on with your boy? What's going on with the man? Why should I be a Christian?
No,
but then I found out he's just a maestro. So
if this was TD Jakes,
exactly,
it would be a problem.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There'd be something totally different. But
this is Kirk. Because Kirk had like a porn addiction, like that's documented. So he's fighting his demons.
Yeah.
But
he's not winning.
Yeah, he has his moments. He's human.
Yeah.
But Kirk. I mean, they gonna be all right, man.
It's going to blow over because I think it's going to blow over because he is not as big as what I thought he was. Like I thought he had a super church down in Texas.
So,
you know what I'm saying?
I'm the same way. So at first I'm like, yo, this is like you said. Like, I'm like, yo, this is a minister. Like I'm thinking like, so for whatever reason, I'm like, yo, over the years, because he's just been, gospel singing. So I'm thinking like, yo, eventually, like this man, he built himself a church somewhere. And he got his own congregation. Like that's what's going on in my head. And then it's just like, oh nah, he's just a person that attends church. Like
a person
that attends church. Like what he is. And I've seen plenty of people that just attend any religious, regardless of what it is, wow out. Like so that I can definitely see that happening. So it's to me the more weird thing is like recording your dad. Like that's
like that at the end of the day. Weird. Why are you putting
because he knew
recording
what he was
with you and your father on the internet?
Like he knew he was going into the conversation trying to bait him, right?
Yeah.
So that leads me to believe that his son is smarter than he is because his son thought in the same way that he should have thought. Like we have these issues. It's super easy for us to take this conversation to 100 miles an hour. So let me record it, and put him out there. Like Kirk should have been thinking the same thing and like, nah, you're not going to play me.
But as the son, what do you gain by that? You're gaining absolutely nothing. If anything, like your allowance from father is gone now because like you going to disrespect me and embarrass me in public. All right, that little $2,000 I send you every month to make sure you got a roof over your head. Maybe I send you $20 next month and see how you feel. Like I just think there was nothing to gain other than criticism and ridicule by posting that. He was looking for sympathy, but now he just looks like a fool.
I was trying to think about what he was looking for.
This is right. This ain't there, but this is right up there with that Jesse Smollett. Like this is right up there. This is up there.
I forgot about that shit.
You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, I'm gonna do this, and this is how everybody gonna react, and it goes the complete opposite way. Like,
yo, Jesse said, he said two Africans beat him. right?
Well, at first he said it was dudes with MAGA hats, and they tried to lynch him.
They
And,
tried to hunt,
And
yeah,
then,
hang him.
and then he said he was the gay Tupac.
oh yeah,
Yeah, remember he said that. Yo,
Oh,
is his sister the
it is.
Yes,
I was
yeah,
in love. Okay, because I
Yeah,
know they had
she-
last
girl-
name.
Yeah, the one that's from Roll Bounce.
I was gonna say Lovecraft.
Nah, she's
Yeah,
been in a
yeah,
few.
sure,
She's been in
Yeah.
a few movies. She's been in a
Yeah.
few movies.
If I was her, I'd have beat,
Like how
I'd
do
have to
you?
fight him. I'd still be fighting him to this day. Like, yo, you trying to take me?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, yo, how do you lie like that and then come around the family like for Thanksgiving? Like,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, it got to be the most awkward. That has to be the most awkward meal you're ever gonna have in your life.
You got to be like, so what was the goal? Like,
Yeah.
was it to get money? Like,
What were you thinking?
yeah.
yeah. But all right, man. Round of applause to pop culture, man. Lot of stuff going on. All right,
Pop
so that
culture
was-
will never lead you astray.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that-
this March has been definitely wild for
March
pop-
Madness, baby.
Yeah, March
Yeah.
Madness on the court and off for sure.
Yeah.
But all right, that was episode 122 in the books. You can find us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Check out our YouTube channel or search Second and One Podcast. If you want to be on the show, you want to send us some merchandise, you want to send us some money, you want to be on the show, send an email over to info@secondandone.com. And yeah, we can make it happen. So all right, fellas, man. Another one in the books. I got my vaccine. You know, I'm on my way to being
Hey,
fine.
man.
I'm on my way to being free this summer.
You only
Listen,
got
man.
one shot. You didn't get the vaccine.
Well, the second one I get in April, but you know, I'm on my way.
Hey, man, I seen a bad batch of that Johnson and Johnson.
Oh no, I ain't get that one. Nah, yo,
That toilet water in the syringe.
nah. If I'd have saw that Johnson and Johnson on the list, I would have been like, I'll reschedule because I don't trust them. They wilding.
I need that Johnson and Johnson. I need that one shot. I'm gonna let them listen, man. They like Apple. I'm gonna let them get their kinks out. Get your kinks out, and then I'm gonna come through. I'm gonna scoop one up. Like
Nah,
it's like an
brother.
Apple product. You gotta let them test that out first. Get a couple bad complaints, then you come in. Get the refurbished joint. That's
It's the
fully
refurbished joint.
So if for the people out there, Johnson and Johnson, I think it was the Baltimore branch of all places.
They probably had
They
heroin in
yeah,
it.
exactly. They was putting something else in them shots, trying to save a buck. But they messed up 15 million shots.
Yeah.
So you know,
I think it was the handling. I don't know if it was I don't necessarily think it was like they messed it up. I think it just was like not stored properly. Like yo, put those in the fridge.
Dude left them out overnight.
Exactly.
they said they put a wrong ingredient in there or something crazy like
see
that.
Oh man, nah. See, that's what I'm
Nah,
saying.
you can't fuck the batch up, bro.
Yeah, somebody
that's bad.
with the machines was like, "Yo, put a little bit extra of that water in there, with this baking soda.
Yo.
That'll cover up the cost."
He's like, I'm
Yeah.
trying to make sure I'm a one and done, baby. I can
Yeah.
make this potent.
Yo, you want your Christmas bonus in there this year? Put that water in there.
Dad, we gotta
Whoa.
drive down
Water.
the cost.
Put that water in
They
there.
put chicken grease in that shit.
Yeah, something. You never know what's going on in Baltimore, man. Like whatever.
Yeah,
but,
listen, you know what's going on. You just don't want to believe it.
yeah, but nah, man, I got the first shot, man. You know, I was a little tired, but you know, I'm back. You know, arm a little sore, but you know, I'm just trying this summer to be out and about with not carefree, but just you know being comfortable. Because I don't know if I said this on air, but on my flight back from Cancun the other week, some dude just randomly coughed on purpose, and I don't need that in my life. So I need to be safe.
We got. Listen, man. If his mask was off, they got to escort him off the plane.
Nah, yeah, no. The dude literally pulled his mask down and coughed on purpose. And
He
then,
pulls his mask.
yeah, nah. So some dude from United, some big dude came out and was like, yo, we can't have none of this. Either you get in line or you're going to get escorted off the plane. Him and his family started acting right, and then that was that. But yeah, man, like, and another real quick before we end, I was in the mall like a month ago. This was what, because I was pretty much like y'all, man. I'm gonna wait and see. But I was in the mall. I'm in Boscov's Mall. I'm trying to get a pair of shorts.
I'm surprised that mall is still even open.
Yeah, I was trying to get a couple pairs of shorts, whatever. some dude like
Surprised it wasn't at Walmart.
they have things on the ground that say social distancing. Some dude walks up to me and was like, "Yeah, you want this 10% off coupon?" I'm like, "Dog, like, back up! Like, you're right in my face.
Yeah.
Offer me $1 off these pairs of shorts. Like, I don't need that." That was that was the ultimate decision. Like, you know what?
But he was an employee though, right?
No, random dude wasn't an employee.
Why does a random dude have boss coupons?
Yeah, and
That's what I'm saying. Like,
and
that's
the
what I was
thing.
like. That was the turning point for me. So you know what? I'm getting this vaccine as soon as I can because I can be as safe as possible. I can't stop some random dude just walking up on me trying to offer me a Boss Cops coupon. So let me get this vaccine.
That's the dangerous part about the mask. It's like the football helmet. Like people got that warrior mentality. Like, yo, I got this mask on. Let's get close. Like, nah. like that's seriously. You know what I mean? Like that's seriously what people do. Like, oh, I got this mask on. Like, oh, that 6 feet only applies to people without the mask. Like,
yeah, like it's just nuts, man.
So yeah,
that's all. Yeah, I got my first shot. Get my second one towards the end of April. I'll be good by the draft. I'll be good by the Kentucky Derby. So I'll be ready to party. But all right, if there's nothing else, any last announcements? Kirk Franklin, Snell, anything left?
Nah, man. I just hope this is a good summer. This is gonna be my last summer here, so I just hope it's gonna be.
Yeah, man. We
a good summer, man.
We at the Asbury Park Boardwalk every weekend this summer, man. We doing something big.
I'm gonna be there.
I mean, Asbury's cool, but I don't know if that's where you want to be.
We'll
Wildwood is nice. We got to get a big Airbnb out there and go to Wildwood.
Yeah, that's a journey, but we'll figure it out. But all right, if there's nothing else, thank you guys for listening to the Second One podcast, and we'll go with you guys next time.